Hi, this is the Sanderson Trail Report on Saturday the 19th of March 2022, and as you can see from the sign behind me, I'm here at the top of the Spitler Peak Trail on the PCT at about mile 168.5, and this morning I'm going to hike northbound for about the next 10 miles to check out conditions. As you can see here, right on the trail there's no snow, but looking a little bit south there to about 168, that's Spitler Peak, and there's a reasonable amount of snow on the north and east sides of Spitler there. I just came up Spitler Peak Trail down there behind me, completely clear of snow and also of all the tree obstructions as well from the winter. Northeast side of Apache Peak, you can see there's a pretty reasonable track in. It's been a huge amount of melting compared to the report that I did, I think about 9 days ago. But I did just encounter 3 through hikers who had backed off from here. 2 of them had spikes. Unfortunately, one of them had these exo spike things, and frankly they just don't cut it, and they got part way across and realized that that was not going to work, which was a good decision on their part. And we'll see what it looks like up ahead, but the track looks pretty good now. In terms of equipment, I have a pair of Cthulhu micro spikes on right now. I'm also a fan of the Black Diamond series, the spike traction devices they call them. The Access is a good option. I'm also not much of a pole user except when I'm snowshoeing, so I tend to carry an ice axe in these conditions, but I also know what I'm doing with it, which is a big advantage. Huge amount of melting in the last 10 days, and with a good pair of spikes and a reasonable head for heights, this is quite straightforward right now, and that bodes well for some of the smaller chutes that are further ahead, because there are usually another 4 or 5 chutes, minor ones, minor in size but potentially equally risky, up ahead between about 170 and 175, but fairly optimistic that they shouldn't be too bad right now. So that's the northeast side of Apache. For middle of March, it's remarkably straightforward. And this is one of those spots where there's often a little chute that can be quite precarious. See the Sanderson high country way through the back there, but right now is fairly well worn, and can be a bit of a chute under normal circumstances, but right now there's a reasonable track and not too bad. I'm at about 172.3, just below Antsel Rock up above me there, and you can see a couple of the chutes that we just came through. I was sort of just focused on getting through them, forgot to video them. Past another PCT hiker, my 6th I think of the morning that I've seen so far, Jacob from Belgium, but he has proper boots and some hiking crampons with him, so he's in pretty good shape. Otherwise, apart from these chutes, the trail's remarkably clear, especially for mid-March. Shows how little snow we've had so far this winter. And just coming through here at about 172.5, the site of the former rockslide that a team helped to remove last June, and a little bit easier than it used to be. And as you can see, there's still quite a few of these small little patches scattered here and there, but either there's an edge you can generally use to get around them, or there's some pretty well worn tracks in them at this point. And still the one big tree obstruction. That's the, I think, about the 10th that I've encountered so far. Okay, I'm at about getting close to 175. You see the area that I came through south of me there. Unfortunately, this slope through here has lost a lot of the burned trees that burned in the mountain fire 2013. A fair number of these had been cut for the rock slide removal work back in June last year, but as you can see, unfortunately a lot have come down this winter. This is number 59 and 60 that I've counted since mile 170, so in just under 5 miles. And unfortunately, like that one, a fair number of them are pretty substantial. Probably at least a third of them are kind of fairly major obstructions that need some work to get around. Okay, through to about 175. This is Red Tahquitz up there above up the slope, and I've gone back into spikes, having been out of them for the last about 4 miles or so. As you can see, from here on I'm expecting more or less continuous snow for the next couple of miles around the north side of Red Tahquitz. And as you can see, there are some reasonable chutes through here. So again, spikes are useful, and head for heights and a comfort level on this kind of angled icy snow. So I'm getting close to 177. This is basically how all of the trail looks between about 175 and probably fairly close to 179. Worth pointing out that from well, as you can see here, the trail or the track is not following the route of the trail. After 175 for about a mile, there's a bit of a mess of tracks. They ultimately sort of all coalesce by about 176 into one, as you can see, fairly well compacted track, but there is a bit of a mess through 175, 175 and a half, and if you're not really careful with your navigation, you can end up doing a lot of unnecessary up and down, following different incorrect routes. And unfortunately this route in large part does not follow the route of the PCT, but it gets you across out to 177, which is the objective. So here I am at mile 177. This is the Tahquitz Creek drainage, and the idea of getting to here is that there's supposed to be water, but as you can see, the creek's well and truly frozen and totally covered in snow. And then secondly, just around the corner here is where the PCT joins the main trail system that goes around the meadows up in and ultimately connects through to Saddle Junction. But no water here at mile 177, other than plenty of snow to melt, obviously. And finally, here I am at Saddle Junction, roughly PCT mile, about 179.5. Devil's Slide Trail heading down to Idlewild is there, and PCT northbound is right behind me there. And as you can see, ever since about 178.5 5 or so. It's been a little bit patchy, starting to get soft. It's now about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's not great underfoot. And in summary, spikes are definitely helpful. Strictly speaking, probably not essential on the section that I just did, but definitely helpful. Again, it depends on your comfort level on that kind of icy snow conditions. It's going to be a little bit chilly for the next day or two, so it probably won't change much. Then it gets very warm, really warm, well above average for about a week, so there'll be a lot more melting. And then it looks like around maybe the 27th, 28th of March, we might have a fairly significant storm coming in. Perhaps a foot of snow in the high country. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And between 170 and 175, I counted at least 72 trees down, including some pretty big ones. So that's going to slow people down, especially with an overnight pack. And finally, a big thank you to my neighbour Alex, who will do his magic with the editing and production on this video. And one last plea that this, although it's on YouTube, this channel is not monetized. The trail report depends entirely on your small private donations. So if you found this to be useful, there'll be a link on the video to the donate page, and in the comments under the video to the donate page on the trail report. And thank you very much for your support, and safe hiking everyone.